Now here we just need to find the center. Well, it's x minus h, so h must be -1, and y minus k, so k is 3, and the radius is the square root of 9, or 3. Again, it's x minus h, so h is 4, y minus k, so k must be a -7, and the radius is the square root of 50. Oh, but 50 is 25 times 2, so the radius is 5 times the square root of 2. Now, if we want to graph this circle, then we know the center is at 1, -2. That's the center. And the radius is the square root of 9, or the radius is 3. So we find the point 1, -2, and we do a radius of 3. So from there, go 1, 2, 3. I'll go 3 up. I'll go 3 down. I'll go 3, 1, 2, 3 to the right, and 1, 2, 3 to the left. And if I have a compass available, I can use it. If I don't, I'll try to draw a circle as best I can. So when you do that, make sure I can see these 4 points and try to draw the circle the best you can if you don't have a compass. Here, the center, because it's just x squared plus y squared, the center is at 0, 0, and the radius is the square root of 4, or 2. So the center is at 0, 0. Points are at 2. Notice I have done some numbering on the graph. You should always indicate how much it is. Each space is up and down and left and right. Unfortunately, not all equations for circles are written in standard form. We might have an equation such as x squared plus 6x plus y squared minus 18y equals -49. That may not look like the equation of a circle, but it actually is. We used completing the square to help us find it. Completing the square means finding the third term of a perfect square trinomial when the first two are already given. Now, I'll remind you that if we had x plus y, I don't want to use a repeat term, x plus d, the quantity squared, and we were squaring that, we would be taking x plus d times x plus d. So the first terms would give me x squared. The outside terms would give me a dx. The inside terms would give me a dx. So I would have 2 dx plus d squared, the last terms. So it's this 2 dx that helps us do. So if we start where the equation x squared plus bx, and we want to find well, x squared plus bx, we want to find what this last term, the bx is my 2d, and we want to find the d squared. The last term, when this is 1, is the square of half. Remember, we just had x squared plus 2 dx plus d squared. So this is 2d, this is my b, so my d must equal half of b. So d squared is b, my half b divided by 2 squared. Something. We do want to move this to the other side, so it'll be plus 44. And then we have to add, to keep our equations balanced, we have to add the same things here on both sides. Now, remember, this is my b, it's my 2d, so what's d? Well, d is 2. Half of 4 is 2 squared. 2 squared is 4. We add that to both sides. Here, y, what's half of negative 8? Negative 4 squared. The negative 4 squared is 16. Add that to both sides. So now we have 44 plus 4 is 48 plus 16 is 64. We now have the circle. This would be the center of this circle would be at negative 2, 4, and the radius of this circle would be 8, because we now have it in standard form. Let's do that again. So take your x terms, x squared minus 8x plus something, plus y squared minus 10y plus something equals, we've got negative 5 already over here, and we're adding two things. We have to add them on both sides. Half of negative 8 is negative 4, and we square that. Negative 4 squared is 16. We're adding it to both sides. Plus y, half of negative 10 is negative 5. Negative 5 squared is 25. Add that to both sides. Now we have negative 5 plus 16 plus 25. Negative 5 and 25 will be 20 plus 16 will equal 36. Now we have a circle with the center at 4, 5, and the radius is the square root of 36, or 6. Here we can take x squared plus 5x plus something plus y squared minus y plus something equals 5 halves plus my two things I added on the other side. Well, here half of 5 is 5 halves squared. 5 halves squared is 25 fourths, squaring both the numerator and denominator. Half of negative 1 is negative 1/2. Squaring that, I will have 1/4. So 25 fourths and 1/4 added on this side, 26 fourths would be 13 halves, plus this 5 halves. That's going to give me 18 halves, or 9. Now I have my circle with the center at negative 5 halves, 1/2, and the radius is 3, the square root of 9. Here's another one. We want to get it in standard form. X squared minus 6x plus something. It's y squared plus 2y plus something equals, remove the 12, negative 12. Half of negative 6 is negative 3. We want to add the square of that to both sides. 9 plus 9. Half of 2 is 1. Squared is 1. Add that to both sides. Now I've got negative 12 plus 9 plus 1. Wait a minute, that's negative 2. Describe that graph because our radius is negative 2. This is not a circle, and there will be no graph. Now, if this had happened to equal 0, we would have a point at 3, negative 1. But since it's a negative, there's no graph.